at the movie night. I'm at the Halloween special. I'm at the combination movie night Halloween special.
As we say every week, have you played Silent Hill?
Oh, that's why we're doing this.
That's a joke just for the people on this podcast.
the real heads out there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And no, I haven't.
I have.
I have just this week I started playing Silent Hill 2. But yeah, welcome to RPG Book Club Movie Nights Halloween edition. That's right. It's a special episode of our special episode series. It's a bonus to our bonus seasons where
we couldn't find it. We couldn't find any movies to tie in with the game we just played because we couldn't find any movies about like how when two different races are fighting, they should probably just live in different places, and that'll solve the problem. So we didn't do that.
And all of the talking animal movies suck. So we didn't want to do that either.
Well, the movie's about humans talking to animals.
I was on board with Dr. Dolittle personally, but we're doing this instead.
Yeah, we are. I'm Sam Allman.
I'm David Bernard Houck.
And I'm Maddie Grace Webben.
And this week we are going to be discussing Silent Hill 2006, not Silent Hill 1990, whatever. We're going to be discussing the movie, and it kind of owns, actually.
But it's a great movie.
And it kind of sucks, actually.
It does equal parts own and suck in the way that only 2000s media can. But before we dive into all of that, how was you guys this week?
I'll go first. My girlfriend broke up with me, so that's fun. Not the one that I currently live with that is 10 feet away from me, the other one. So that's sad. I'm not going to go into it. I've already yelled at both of y'all about it. Mm-hmm. It's a complicated breakup. It's amicable, very amicable. It was not mutual. I got broken up with, but it's very amicable. We're going to be friends, and by a really funny coincidence, I'm going to be seeing her in about 5 days. So, I am going to be in Chicago. I'm leaving in about 5 hours. I'm getting driven to the airport to go to Chicago. So what was originally going to be a short, brief, but wonderful little opportunity to see my girlfriend in between lots of meetings and seminars and workshops about union organizing, is now going to be me meeting with my ex-girlfriend in between workshops about union organizing. Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to it. Ironically, this makes the meeting much more important, right? Because before it was just like, yeah, this is my girlfriend. And hey, I miss her, and this is in between our big trips, so I'm just going to get to see her for like 1 or 2 days. Nice little bonus, a little treat. But now it's like, we both have a whole lot of emotions, and this is a very opportune moment to work through them together. So now it's like, this is honestly more important than the union shit. Like, if she wanted to meet with me at a time that overlapped with some of the stuff, I would just bail on the stuff at this point because it's important, right? Yeah. But yeah, I honestly feel pretty okay. I was, as with most breakups, I was devastated for a few days. Then we had some talking, and back like 7 months ago, I just thought she was one of my closest friends, and that was fine, right? So why can't it be fine again? Exactly. There's no reason it can't be. There's no reason it can't be fine. It was fine before, and then I had a dumb idea that what if I fell in love with this person and had a relationship, which was a dumb idea. And yeah, so it's honestly not like not much of a pity party to throw for me, honestly. I've already been throwing one for myself. Don't worry. Other than that, I started replaying Disco Elysium. I'd only played about. We also had a vacation last week. That's the thing. We had a vacation last week. That's why we recorded a day or two early. That way we could then do the vacay. And on my vacations when I got broken up with, which is just great timing. I'm not mad about it. It just how it was, you know. But also I'm going to start my big, I'm going to start driving my UPS truck tomorrow or next week. So honestly, better to get broken up with during a vacation than during a very difficult time starting a new job, right? Honestly, great timing. So anyway, point is, As part of my vacation, I did a lot of reading books. I was relaxing. I was grieving. But I also started replaying Disco Elysium. I played it earlier this year and only got through about one in-game day. Actually, less than that. I got through like 10, 11, 12 in-game hours, which isn't very much at all. And I loved it, but, life got busy. Just didn't play more of it. So I restarted it, and man, it's such a good game. It's such a good game. It also is a game about a divorce in many ways and a big breakup, but it's also a game about socialism. And it's one of those, how Bernard knows this. Bernard, you know how Twin Peaks can have scenes that are literally either like laughing your ass off or scary or sad, depending on like what mindset you're watching them in?
Yes.
That's kind of what this game is. It's known as a really hilarious game, and it is, but it's also deeply sad. It's a very, very heavy, it's a very sad game. So the sadness was hitting me more than the humorousness. Anyway, great game. I can't wait to play more than. So the point is, I've had to play it in like little doses. Like I played for like in like 40 minutes, and then I'm like, that's enough. I can't do any more of this right now.
Mm-hmm.
And in addition to all that, one more thing to report. Carly Rae Jepsen's new album came out last Friday, but I hadn't listened to it yet because me and my best friend were going to listen, or one of my best friends were going to listen to it together. And we did that today, and it's really good. It's a different vibe for her. It's almost all chill vibes.
Mm-hmm.
Like with Carly, usually you get some chill vibes, and you also get some like real big bops. And halfway through, me and my friend who were listening to it at the same time were like, this is a really, really good album. Like maybe one of her best albums. They just fantasy. However, in order to really be like her best album, it's gonna need a couple more like bops, like real bangers. And then it didn't. But by the end of it, the album really has a lot to say. And as much as I love Carly Rae Jepsen, her albums aren't her. I mean, they are pop albums. They are fun songs. Each song in itself might have a point or some meaning to it. It's not like shallow. It's not shallow or trite. But like the albums aren't coming together to make some sort of strong statement. Usually, they're usually just like having various themes. Like, Emotion is largely about other people's relationships. It's largely about friendship. It's largely about other people. Whereas like you use a lot of third person. Whereas like Dedicated is much more about the singer's own relationships. And I don't mean Carly, I just mean the character, right? It's more about people dealing with their own shit, right? It's much more directly about relationships than like friendship. This album, it's very low key, but it really has a point actually. Like, and the point is like being able to see relationships not as these atomic self-contained units or as these narratives or as these like cinematic movie fairy tale stories or whatever, but as just part of a broader human tapestry. Like the way I described it was like we're all like, this is just the human experience, man, and we're all in this dance that we're all in together. And you falling in love with someone and then maybe falling out of love and breaking up with them, or something terrible happens, or you hurt them, or you don't hurt them, and it's amicable, or like all this stuff. When you have it from that broader bird's eye context of like, this is just like one molecule in a much larger organism, the organism of like humanity. Like, I'm not just trying to say like you got to have perspective on things. I'm saying like it allows you to value these things for what they are and not like what they're not, right? Because you wouldn't like in an ecosystem, you need all different kinds of animals. So you're not going to judge a bird for not being a fish. You need birds and fish. And you wouldn't judge like some relationships are just going to fail, and that's like those are as important as the ones that succeed.
Yeah.
And when you think of it as like, yeah, man, you're not this precious little Hollywood movie. All of us all the time are just going through it all the time. And that's something we all have in common. And that's something that brings like humanity that's just together. and we're all sort of making something. We're all creating society and creating the web of relationships as a common effort. And it's I don't know. It really feels like a really strong sense of like I don't know, like solidarity and togetherness, which again, playing Disco Elysium and all that kind of stuff also did a lot of that. And also had a nice conversation with my brother last night about some emotions and stuff. But yeah, really, really, really good album. Really good album. It follows the proper format an album should follow, which is that the second to last track is the climax of the narrative, and then the final track is sort of a denouement, right? And instead of the climax being like intense or heavy or loud like she often does, it's like a quiet song. Like it is a quiet, not literally acoustic, but like
Almost.
I think parts. I think it starts off as just an acoustic guitar, but then there's more instruments. It's a very quiet, sort of confessional little ballad, and it really, really affected me. And then, the denouement, I will say, don't ever release the closer of your album as a single. Come on, you're spoiling it, man. However, so like, you don't want to get excited for the very end of the album, the really capping off this experience, and it's a song you've already heard before.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway, I had already heard it, but it's a fucking great song.
It's such a good song that Summer hates Carly Rae Jepsen. Like I have been, although Summer loves like all pop music, this is the pop albums that every time they come out, I like listen in the car, and I don't listen in the house because she doesn't like Carly. But this song was trending on TikTok, and she goes, "Oh my God, there's crack in this song," and unfortunately, it's a Carly song, and so it's the one Carly Rae Jepsen song that's made it onto Summer's playlist.
Yeah, the closer, which is also the title track and the lead single, is really, really good. It's an absolute. It's like one of two actual bangers on the album because it's not a very banger heavy album. Anyway, I was really worried. I was pretty sure that like, look, no artist is good forever. It's not a problem. It's something to be sad about. Things come and go. Things are transient. Carly made 4 jaw-droppingly phenomenal albums in a row, or more if you want to say that everything before Emotion was also amazing, but I think there was a distinct shift when she made Emotion.
Absolutely.
So she made 4 just absolute fucking all-time classic pop albums. That's a good fucking run, okay? So I was pretty sure, I was like, yeah, I got a feeling based on these singles, I feel like this is going to be the one where she's lost her hot streak. And that's okay. I still love her, and I'll appreciate the 4 great albums that she made, and, hopefully the rest of her stuff is still, like, good. But no, I was wrong. This album, only time will tell, of course, but it's right up there with the rest of her best albums. So good job, Carly.
What about you, Bernard? What have you been up to?
Finding it hilarious that Maddie Grace said she wasn't going to talk about her breakup much, and then talked about it for like 5 uninterrupted minutes.
Yeah, well, there you go. Hey, that's a lot less than I could have talked about it. Believe me.
It's true.
I mean, mostly though. I should hold. I was trying to make sure you all knew I was okay, because I feel like I left it half after I explained half of the breakup. It sounded really, really, really sad, and I didn't want everyone to just be like, "Oh, wow, sorry, Maddie Grace." So I had to say the rest of it so that y'all knew I was doing okay. Okay, go on.
Okay. So I think I might have ADHD. And my psychiatrist was like, I want you to get fancy, expensive testing for ADHD. So I was like, I'm going to put that off for a year, but okay. And I did the test this past week, and it was really weird. It took like 2 hours. I had to do like a lot of puzzles and stuff, and it was really weird. Y'all can ask me questions about it if y'all want. If y'all
I'm imagining you being in like a mist situation where you're just, or like you got these items and you're jabbing them together, trying to like activate some crazy machinery.
Yeah. Basically, that's what it was like. I had to do an intentionally boring task for 20 minutes. And it was rough. But I don't find out what's up with the results of that test for a couple weeks.
Oh man.
So
yeah, I saw a thing recently about ADHD testing, and I've always been like, oh, I don't know if it would be accurate for me because like I'm an overachiever when it comes to tests, and I would do things right and ace the test, and then I wouldn't get the result that I want. But then I found out that that's only a thing that like a neurodivergent person would think about, and therefore if I do the test that way, then they would know. And I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Like there was one, and it was like, the question was like, do you have trouble putting on clean socks? And they're like, me, no, because I have a system. And they're like, normal people just change their socks. They don't have a system. You're not normal. And I was like,
yeah, it's so funny to explain why something's not a problem. Yeah, I've had it so many times. It's like, wait, you mean you guys don't all do that? You mean that for me, all the things that I think of as just normal life are just elaborately complex systems of coping mechanisms that other people don't have? Wow, that's a real eye opener.
Yeah, I at work we have a web filtering thing, and each one has to tie into our ID number that says what policies to put on it or whatever. And the other day, I was walking them through how to set it up, and I'm like, yeah, and it's really easy. So it starts with B4, like before, and then EA, like electronic arts, and that's really normal. And then 9-2, because it feels like B4, but it's a 2 and not a 4. And then E8, which again is like EA, but it's an 8 at the end this time. See, it's really easy to remember. And they're like, just write it down for me. And I'm like, oh yeah, there was no mnemonics in that. I'm fucking weird. And my house keys, I can tell they're different because it's the one on the left is my house key, and the one on the right is the public area key. And they're on a loop. Anyone can be the left and the right, but
But let me guess, one of them always gives off left vibes, and the other one gives off right vibes. So
No, there's a third key on it. So even if it ends up on the right, then there's another key there.
Okay.
I know it has to. It
makes perfect sense. Yeah.
And I don't think that works for everyone else. They would get a key cover. But
anyway, Bernard, tell us more about your stupid brain.
Yes.
Well, it turns out I'm pretty good at mentally figuring out the mathematical word problems they had me do. There was only one where I was like, I don't know. But the rest I got pretty quickly, and I felt good about myself. Then I was like, wait, what if I'm doing too good at the test?
Now, you probably did good at the test, but in a way that only someone with a stupid brain would do.
Yes.
Yeah. That's probably why it takes a couple of weeks to get you the results, is they like cross-reference how you do it and not just all the right answers or whatever.
And I got diagnosed for ADHD in like a 30-minute conversation and like a little questionnaire.
Well, really to be fair, have a 30-minute conversation with Maddie Grace Webben, and yeah.
Very informative. That's true. But it was. I think it was really more just like answer these yes or no questions, please. But actually, I will say, the second time I got diagnosed for ADHD, not the first time, the second time, that's actually what happened. A guy asked me a question, and after I answered it, he's like, "Yeah, you didn't have to give me like so many like equivocations and asterisks and like different angles on the answer." And I was like, man, I just wanted you to have the maximum information. I didn't want you to get the wrong idea. And he's like, yeah, most people don't do that, idiot.
Yeah. Anything else, Bernard? What's going on with you?
Not really.
So I redid my whole media server like from the ground up, and by doing that I had to redo a lot of my things that I did unique and special. Like I talked before about how my Dragon Ball Z is Dragon Ball Kai, but with the Falconer music put back in, but also with the driver's license episode and the Garlic Jr. saga and all of the movies put in where they go, because I want it to be complete. I just want it to be good. So skip all the like pacing filler, but put in the filler that actually matters and include all of the sagas. And that's not a thing that exists. So I had to like manually put in the seasons and episode numbers and all that stuff. So I had to redo that because I redid my server, and it made me really, really want to watch some Dragon Ball. So I was like, I'll finally watch Dragon Ball GT. I missed the boat on it a long time ago, and I'll watch it now. And it's not bad. It's just very weird that they decided to go the way that they did and do a sequel to Dragon Ball and not a sequel to Dragon Ball Z. And there are so many times when the monster of the week is a Dragon Ball level threat and not a Dragon Ball Z level threat, and the guy who punched Kid Buu till he died just kind of stands there and lets the comedy happen. And it's like, no, you're it's in canon that you move so fast that mortals can't see you. So you would just go over there and take the MacGuffin that you're here to do, and then you would leave. Like, you literally get all of the Dragon Balls in Dragon Ball Z off screen after like the third time you do it, because it's not a problem for you anymore.
One of my favorite things about DBZ is how it goes from like an entire season of TV to get Dragon Balls to like a thing they do in between episodes.
Yeah. And they stretch it back out to be 26 episodes in GT, and it's like, Goku would not have this problem. And like, yes, Goku and Pan and Trunks like accidentally stole the spaceship, so it couldn't be Goku and Vegeta and Gohan like it was supposed to be. But like, Gohan and Vegeta are still superheroes, and they still are Saiyans, so they can breathe in outer space. So they could have just flown after the ship, opened the door, and got inside before they like. There's just so much like ignoring the fact that these people are gods at this point in their lives, especially now that Dragon Ball Super exists and it takes place before Dragon Ball GT, and it's like, okay,
wait, GT is still canon?
No, I don't think so.
It's hard to say because so I think it's canon in the way that Broly has become canon, where Broly was like super beloved by everybody, and Akira Toriyama was like, you know what, that's my favorite thing that I didn't make for Dragon Ball Z, so I'm going to write my own take on the Broly story. And so now the Broly movie is a canon movie to Dragon Ball Super. It just also can't be canon to the Broly movies of Dragon Ball Z because they're opposites. And so Dragon Ball Super is doing things like Pan exists as a baby, and some of the things that happen later down the line in GT, like off screen, like the setup sort of stuff, are like starting to happen now. But also, Goku becomes a Super Saiyan God in the meantime, and then doesn't do that again in GT. It then gets compounded because at the same time the Dragon Ball Super is going on, there's Super Dragon Ball Heroes, a anime of dubious canonicity where GT and Super cross over. And so
that's stupid.
It's very stupid, but
what is this, American comic books?
Pretty much. And so
that's not even anime bullshit. That's fucking superhero bullshit.
That is 100% superhero bullshit. But I like to believe that GT is still canon, and because the end of Super, where it stands, Goku loses his abilities Samus Aran style. So you could conceive that, like, oh, maybe they do go on to do GT after this. But it's still stupid to be like, oh yeah, the Super Saiyan God who literally is like won the tournament between universes. He is the strongest person in 7 different universes. It can't fight this random alien guy, and so they have to Trunks has to wear a dress to trick him instead of Goku just punching him in the throat. But it's wild, and I've been enjoying it because it's weird. One thing I do love about it, though, is by the time that GT came out, they realized that Dragon Ball is black media. It is not for white people. It is for black people. And the opening theme is hip hop, and it makes me so happy. The opening theme of Dragon Ball Z is prog rock, and they're like, the prog rock kids are not the ones watching Dragon Ball Z. Let's pivot for GT. And
I didn't know that. I mean, I haven't watched Delta Kids. I didn't remember that it had a hip hop opening. That is neat. I agree.
Yeah. The other cool thing is Tom DeLonge's back in Blink 182, and I was like, oh my god, I should go see them again. Except their tickets are $300 for like nosebleeds.
They sure are.
And that's fucking stupid. So I'm just going to be excited when the album comes out, and that's about it. And then Star Ocean came out today, and I haven't been able to play it yet. And I've heard a lot of the reviews are saying it's not that great, but at least it's better than Integrity and Faithlessness. And Integrity and Faithlessness is my favorite hidden gem JRPG on the PS4. So it probably owns. So who knows? I'm excited to dive into it. I know that the graphics kind of suck, and I'm so excited for it. I want worse graphics in my JRPGs again.
I'm just glad to hear that you've spent some time enjoying media rather than just organizing it.
I mean, I got there by organizing it. But other media I enjoyed was the Silent Hill movie from 2006. So without further ado, let's get started talking about the plot. All right, so this movie is good, and that's it. Time for memorable moments. No, it was directed by Christophe Gans, and he had been trying to make this movie for like 5 years, and could not get the license from Konami. Yeah, Konami. Couldn't get the license, so he made a Silent Hill short film to like prove that he could do it. And they're like, okay, yeah, actually, you can make a Silent Hill movie now. And I always love when that's how a franchise movie gets made, because oftentimes it's like, oh, we wanted a cash-in movie, and we had a game coming out, so we wanted a movie to come out. But it's always the ones like Detective Pikachu is the same way. Those guys really, really wanted to make a Pokemon movie. They couldn't get the Pokemon license, so they got the Detective Pikachu license because that was close enough. And then they made a kick-ass
Imagine Konami existing.
Hey, they're back, baby.
What? They're kind of back.
We'll see if they're back.
We'll see if they're back.
Ryuki Shio 7 writing the new Silent Hill makes me
that's
happy.
That's cool.
You say that, but next time they're going to announce that the new Silent Hill written by Ryuki Shio 7 is in fact a pachinko machine.
Don't do that to me.
Yeah, we also get a Silent Hill 2 remake by everyone's favorite Bloober Team.
Yeah, that shit sucks. Fuck that.
So yeah, this movie loosely adapts the first game, but
everything in it is from the second game.
Yeah. Because it's one of those things where like Silent Hill 2 is like the good Silent Hill that everybody remembers. So it's like, oh, we're going to make a new Friday the 13th movie. Why would we make a movie about Jason's mom? Everyone wants to see a new Jason movie. So the Friday the 13th reboot was about Jason and not his mom, and kind of was the same thing. Like they want to see Pyramid Head. They want to see the lying figures. They want to see all that jazz. So that's what we're doing. So film starts on a dark night in Ohio. Our main character, Rose Silva.
I know it's gonna be a rough movie.
Hey, it's mostly in West Virginia, which is not better. So our main character, Rose Silva, and her husband, Christopher, chase their adopted daughter, Sharon, who's been having lots of nightmares and sleepwalking. She has sleepwalked herself to the edge of a cliff and is about to jump off. And Rose catches her just in time, and the girl starts screaming, "Silent Hill, Silent Hill, Silent Hill." At that point, I would be like, she's having weird nightmares. That's weird, and go about my life. And I would definitely not drive to Silent Hill, West Virginia, a known ghost town where everyone died, just to see. But Rose does. So one thing about Sharon is she has a sketchbook where she draws a lot, and you see the pictures at the beginning, and it's all cute kid pictures of like the family and lions and stuff like that. But when Rose is taking Sharon to Silent Hill, she stops to get gas, and she's looking at the pictures, and they've all been like scribbled over with occult creepy shit. And Sharon looks at it as like, what the fuck? Who did this? Who changed my pictures?
She actually says, "What the fuck? It's weird." It's like, who taught you that?
Yeah.
No, she doesn't say what the fuck.
Yes.
Yo, Carly says the fuck word on the opening track of the new album. I was like, Carly
says the fuck word?
You can't say that.
First Sufjan, now Carly?
That's right. Yeah, she's entering her Sufjan arc, which is when you say fuck words now for some reason. Anyway, go on. This girl is now entering her Carly era.
Yes. A creepy cop person who's later revealed to be a hot lady notices the outburst and tries to pull them over after they leave because cops are stupid. And
I want to say it's really interesting how they film her, because was it just me, or did they totally film her as a scary villain character at the beginning? But then it turns out, she's a good guy later.
Yeah, they totally. It was like, it's a common trope of like
Terminator 2 cop vibes from her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a total trope of like, the hero comes to town and you see a cutaway shot of a villainous or maybe a goon of some kind, an assassin just sort of watching and being like, and you're like, uh-oh. The bad guys are up to something, but yeah, no, just weird filmmaking. This whole movie, I really like this movie. It's got a weird tone. The problem with the weird tone is that, especially, it's hard to tell if it's bad filmmaking or if you're misinterpreting, or if it's just, no, the whole movie's got a weird tone. Therefore, really, this isn't actually being ominous. It's just the whole movie's ominous. It's tough to know really.
Yeah.
I mean, of course it has a weird tone. It's made by a French guy. That's how French movies are.
Yeah, one of my notes I was going to bring up later is that this movie is not an American horror film at all. It's not Japanese, but it's not like American spooky.
That's a very good point, actually. I hadn't even thought about that, but you're 100% correct.
So when the cop is trying to pull her over, Rose speeds off to escape the officer, and as she's driving, a young girl like walks out in front of the car. So Rose swerves to miss her and crashes the car and gets knocked out. When she wakes up, she finds out that Sharon is missing, and she is on the outskirts of Silent Hill, which is shrouded in heavy fog, and ashes are falling from the sky.
The reason it's shrouded in fog is that this movie didn't have very good draw distance.
I love that, like, Silent Hill leaned into the limitations of the PS1 so hard that, like, Silent Hill is fog now. Like, such a cool, like, oh, we did this because we had to, but now it's our thing and we're never going to stop.
Absolutely. Silent Hill 1 is a fantastic example of using the limitations of the hardware to your benefit.
Mm-hmm. Same. It reminds me kind of Vagrant Story, how they were like, oh, we only have a couple of polygons, so let's just put our kick-ass sprite artists on texture duty and make these polygons look really fucking good. And they did so much with the PS1. But we're not talking about that game today. So Rose gets out of her car and she searches the empty streets of the town to try and find Sharon. She thinks she sees Sharon like darting off in the corner and run into a dark alley. And so Rose follows her and everything starts going fucking weird and melting and shit. And the town turns into a darker version of itself. She discovers a mutilated figure clothed in like mining gear, hung on a wired fence, complete with like bloody floors and fences made out of metal grating and very industrial grossness. And then she's attacked by a creepy zombie baby monster called a Gray Child. Then a bunch of creepy zombie baby monsters show up, and she runs and gets the fuck out of there.
So I was sort of worried about watching this movie because even though I love survival horror games, I am sort of a baby when it comes to gross stuff in movies. Mm-hmm. But most of the stuff in this movie was the movie was too late for them to be doing a bunch of really gross practical effects, but too early for the CG to be really good.
Yeah.
So a lot of it is just like the Gray Children aren't actually too disgusting to me.
Yeah.
There are some parts that are pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
As Sam also very astutely said earlier today, most of the thing that's bad about this movie, it's not like Uwe Boll bad video game movie stuff. It's very much just like, yeah, man, it was 2006. Like, movies were just like that. That's just...
Art wasn't that great in the mid-aughts.
Movies were just bad for about... Movies were just kind of bad for a while. They were just bad from, like, 2004 to, like, 2009. The movies were just bad.
Yeah.
And part of it was CG, but it was not just CG. It was like some of the directing choices, some of the plotting decisions, just very, very aughts movie, which, you know, if you grew up during that time, then you have a nice nostalgia for it. So it's like, and it's not like there's not a lot of good stuff in the movie too.
So she's running away from the demon baby monsters and she trips and is about to be overwhelmed by them until they melt into ash, and the ash flies up in the sky and she falls unconscious and wakes back up in the fog version of the world, and she's in a bowling alley. When I was watching this part, so this happens throughout the movie where you don't understand shit and then you start to understand it later. I thought she had gotten knocked out and like woke up in a different place. I didn't pick up on the fact that Silent Hill is two different alternate dimensions that go back and forth from each other. It took me a hot minute to figure all that out.
One thing that I want to note here is so this has actually been following the game pretty closely so far, but at this point, the main character, who in the game is actually a man, should be in a diner, but for some reason she's in a bowling alley, and there's no reason for it to be a bowling alley instead of a diner. I'm like, why would that? That's so strange. The bowling alley doesn't add anything. Why did they change that? Like, I'm not mad. It just strikes me as very strange to change that.
Yeah, it was a mid-budget horror movie, so it probably could have been the town that they were shooting in West Virginia, which was probably actually Atlanta or Toronto or Vancouver. Wait, the little girl is a sci-fi the Channel actress, so I know it was in Vancouver.
Oh, so yeah, it'd be Canada, yeah.
Yeah, but they probably just didn't have a diner, and so they just...
Or maybe they were on a really tight schedule, and the diner was already having a different movie filming there.
Yeah. Yeah, having produced a movie, it very easily could be like, oh, well, I guess I'll rewrite the scene to take place at laser tag because...
Oh, I guess we can't use so-and-so's car anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, let's just rewrite this whole thing to now, instead of being at a concert, be at a park, because everything fell through.
For those of y'all just tuning in, Sam made a movie in college, and there's a scene where it's like, wait, this plot doesn't make any sense. Why do these characters go here and then go here? It's a big plot hole. It's really weird, and it's all explained if you just say, well, this scene was supposed to be in that car from the earlier scene. If you say, it's like, oh, that makes sense. That would have made sense to film this scene in that car.
Yep.
So I looked up where it was filmed, and not in Vancouver, but in some towns in Ontario and soundstages in Toronto.
Okay. So yeah, Canada.
Also, you mentioned, I think you mentioned Jodelle Ferland,
yes,
who plays the little girl. Amazing child acting here.
Oh, fantastic!
Very, very good.
I've been a huge fan of Jodelle ever since I watched Dark Matter, and then I realized that she was in a bunch of other stuff that I had seen. But she's fantastic in Dark Matter, and she's fantastic in this. Big ups to her. So upon leaving the bowling alley, Rose tries to leave town, and she notices that the main road out of Silent Hill is just not there. It's just collapsed into a giant abyss.
Whoops.
A mysterious woman in ragged clothing, who we later know her name is Dahlia, she arrives, and she says that the townspeople have done terrible things to her own daughter, Alessa, and then she Rose is like, well, my daughter is missing too. Have you seen her? And shows a picture, and Dahlia's like, no, that's my daughter. That's not your daughter. And she tries to take the locket from her. They scuffle for a bit, and Dahlia almost pushes Rose off the edge. But Rose gets away and runs back to her car. She tries to like start it. She's not trying to leave. She's like, if I'm going to be driving through a town with creepy babies and people that could hurt me, I'm going to have the protection of my car to do it. But the car won't start. So she looks in the back seat, and she finds one of Sharon's drawings, and this one is a drawing of a school. She's like, well, this is probably a clue. I'm going to go. All of these pictures are pictures of Silent Hill that she's been drawing. So that's probably where she is. But then the cop lady shows back up and tries to arrest Rose. And she only finally believes her that like weird shit is going down when a lying figure from Silent Hill 2, the video game, shows up and spits acid at her. In the fight between the cop lady and the lying figure, Rose gets away and makes it to the school.
Although, important to note, the cop lady did handcuff her, so yes, she's handcuffed now.
Yeah, she got the handcuffs in front of her, but she can't like do much. Her hands are cuffed together. So inside the school, Rose sees a flashback to the town it was 30 years before. Maybe she sees it. We see it at least. It seems like she understands what's going on, but also seems like she doesn't. Who knows? Unclear filmmaking. The wiki says that she sees it, but I don't buy it. So you see a group of girls surround Alessa. They're calling her a witch, and they're throwing things at her. We see that Alessa is identical to Sharon, played by Jodelle. After the flashback ends, Rose sees Alessa run into the girls' bathroom. So Rose enters the bathroom and opens one of the bathroom stalls and sees the body of a janitor like wrapped up in barbed wire with a piece of a hotel keychain in its mouth. Rose takes the key change and is about to leave when strange dudes in like mining equipment show up, and And so they spot her, and she locks the bathroom door, and they're trying to get in, and she's freaking out 'cause she has nowhere to go. But then a siren goes off, and they get the fuck out of Dodge. They just leave her, and they're like, "Fuck it," and they leave,
and everything's fine.
And everything's fine. No, the bathroom then starts to rot, much as before, and shifts into the red Silent Hill. And the body of the janitor now is a super fucking creepy, crawly zombie thing, and it's gross, and I hate it.
My understanding from looking at the wiki is that this is the only original monster in the movie that's not from the first or second game. Really good monster, I think.
Yeah, I really like it. It's like hogtied around its neck and feet with barbed wire and creepy makeup. Fun fact, that's the same actor that does Pyramid Head.
Oh.
Yeah. He's credited as Colin, which is... I love that this monster's name is Colin.
Yeah,
which is
Colin
fantastic.
the janitor.
Colin and Pyramid Head have the same actor. But so Rose manages to escape, and at this time I want to note that there's been a whole side plot the entire time with Sean Bean and some cop dude. Sean Bean plays Christopher, but these scenes were literally only added because the I wrote network, but the studio said that no one would watch a movie with only female characters in it, so they added these scenes. They do not impact the story at all. They're not very good. The only piece of lore you get from it is the fact that Silent Hill, the real town, burned down a long time ago, and they go to the real Silent Hill right now, and it's not creepy. Besides being burned down, and it's not foggy, and it's not the other world. So it just shows that Rose is trapped in some fake alternate reality. And that's the last I'll speak about Sean Bean until we get to the very ending. So Rose collapses in tears in the school thing, and she can't go on. Colin scared the bejesus out of her, and creepers, some other Silent Hill video game monsters, are like coming at her and about to overrun her. But then Cop Lady arrives and saves her. Her name is Sybil. She's apparently hot, and she's been dragged into the other world along with Rose. They lock themselves in a storeroom, but then they are attacked by my boy Pyramid Head. And
excuse you, Red Pyramid thing.
Yes.
Apparently that's the official name. That's what they were called him in the Silent Hill stream.
Yeah, it's bonkers to me that like in Silent Hill 2, me and Summer played Silent Hill 2 last Monday. We're not very far, but James, the main character of it, calls him the Red Pyramid, and I'm like, wait, where did Pyramid Head come from? And that's not his name. It's like Pinhead from Hellraiser, who's never actually called that.
Yeah,
but
Pinhead's actual name is Hellraiser.
Yeah. But so Pyramid Head shows up, and his big ass scissor sword is making short work of the door that they're behind, and they are about to get got. Sybil shoots at Pyramid Head a couple of times, and that only pisses him off, and he's about to like break into the room, and then we see see everything shift back to the fog world, and him and the creepy crawly bugs, which, by the way, in the bugs are from the game. In the game, I thought that they were just bugs. In the movie, it zooms in, and those bugs have a human face and arms and things on the bottom of the bugs, and it's super gross, and I hate it. Made me very uncomfortable to see that. But Yeah, so the room turns back to the fog world, and Sybil's like, what the fuck's going on? And so Rose catches her up, and she's like, I found this keychain for the hotel. I think it's a clue. The next level of the video game we need to replicate is at the hotel. And they're like, cool, let's go. When they get there, they meet a young woman named Anna, who is very devoutly religious for some undisclosed religion. And we find out about later.
I want to point out, maybe I should say this for memorable moments, but Sybil at one point pronounces her name Ana. And I'm like,
Yes.
what?
That's funny.
I was like, what? If someone's name is Anna, I will like accidentally switch between Anna and Anna, but Ana.
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 That ain't a name.
Well, it was filmed in Canada. Ana. Y'all get it. It's that stereotype about y'all. Yeah, y'all get it.
So they search the hotel and they find a clue to go to room 111, and they discover a secret passage to a sacrificial chamber where Rose does some stupid 2000s era action stunts, jumping over a green screen on the floor. And
Oh my god.
and then she encounters a little girl who looks like Sharon / Alessa, but is much darker, called Dark Alessa, only on the Silent Hill movie site. She's not credited as such anywhere, but Dark Alessa is what we'll call her. So she sees Dark Alessa, and she's like, what's going on? And Dark Alessa very helpfully just bursts into flames instead. So then another siren blares out, and a warning of another impending shift to the Red Silent Hill. Anna implores Rose and Sybil to follow her to the local church, where she says that they'll be safe. That's where they hide every time. So on their way to the church, the other world starts to consume the church grounds. And as the churchgoers are like fleeing inside of the church, Dahlia is there, and she warns Rose and Sybil to not go with them because they are deceiving wolves in the skins of sheep. Rose confronts Dahlia and is like, what the fuck? Why do our daughters look exactly the same? Is Alessa dead? Like, what's going on? And Dahlia says, evil wakes in vengeance. Be careful what you choose. Anna, who this whole time has been like trying to like beat up Dahlia, like when we got to the hotel earlier, she was just like throwing shit at Dahlia for funsies, I guess. She's continues throwing rocks at Dahlia even though the world is going to shit around her. So Pyramid Head shows up and just fucking rips her skin off.
It's
just like
gross.
There it goes. I noted that this is like the only like horror movie death in the whole movie. Like you could maybe think that the two deaths at the church later are horror movie adjacent, but this is the only like real fast, real surprising, real gory type.
You know, even though like being super gory and like I don't know what people might consider to be like crass or unsophisticated forms of horror, like gory deaths or jump scare stuff, even though that stuff is often associated, and for the record, I'm putting quotes and all that, I don't think that's actually like unsophisticated or whatever, but even though that stuff is usually stereotypically associated more with American films, it's like, oh yeah, you know, they made a American remake of this like Swedish or Japanese or German film, and it's usually a lot more like in your face, blood and gore, and it lacks like subtlety. Even though that's usually the stereotype, for something about this scene, I can't stop thinking about what y'all mentioned earlier about how this movie was made by a Frenchman, and obviously, you know, I'm not going to go all caliper on every goddamn movie. Like, oh yeah, you can tell this movie is friggin' is Hungarian because of these subtle filmmaking things. Like, no, but also like I don't know, it does have a European vibe to it. And the skinning scene really struck me as that, because that scene struck me as being just something off about it. Like, I don't know, if this movie was made by the people who made, like, American The Ring or or like Saw or Friday the 13th or whatever, it wouldn't have felt the way that it did. I don't know. It wasn't that it was super over the top gory. It was something about the filmmaking. It just it was. Here's what it was. It was just weirdly dry. It was like Bernard just described. It was just a matter of fact, right? It wasn't like we're gonna get in your face and make you feel grossed out. It was like, nope, here's a thing that's just happening, and that's way more fucked up than if they were using filmmaking to highlight how fucked up it was. No, it's just like, yeah, this movie's just creepy and weird in vibes, and then someone's being skinned now. Like the movie doesn't even. It's like the movie doesn't even give a shit, which is really it. I liked it a lot. I just wanted to point that out because of a thing the French comment made earlier.
Yeah, the movie reminds me a lot of how I felt playing Silent Hill 2, is that it felt like it was just an adventure game, and the adventure that you're doing is a lot of creepy, weird stuff more than it being a horror game or a survival horror game. And that's kind of what this movie feels like, where it's like, oh, she's going on this adventure to save her kid through some like dark, gruesome, weird shit. But I don't feel the movie was ever trying to scare me. And that was pretty cool.
Yeah. It's, I don't know. I would need to watch the scene again to really point out exactly what aspects of the filmmaking make it feel this way, but it's just this is where the movie's particular vibe really started to really manifest itself to me.
Mm-hmm. So Rose and Sybil go inside the church, and sure enough, it doesn't turn into Red Silent Hill. So they talk to the remaining townspeople, who are a super religious cult led by a woman named Christabella. Christabella tells them that a demon controls the town, and that Rose must face the darkness of hell if she wants to find her daughter. After convincing Christabella that she wants to find the demon for answers, Rose is taken to Brookhaven Hospital with Sybil. There, Christabella discovers the likeness between Sharon and Alessa from Rose's locket, and she condemns Rose and Sybil as witches, and they try to kill them dead. Sybil stays behind to defend Rose, to let Rose get out, and Sybil gets her ass beat to a bloody pulp. Rose descends in the elevator to the basement of the otherworldly hospital, and after a encounter with some creepy ass dark nurses, Rose finds a badly burned adult Alessa lying in a hospital bed who's unable to walk or speak. Dark Alessa appears, the little girl, and explains why Alessa is like this. She
comes out and just is like, okay, here's the plot.
Yeah, here's what's been going on.
At this point, this was the point where I was like, okay, this script could have used a bit more work, because
this is the part that feels so odd to me.
Yeah.
Because I had read a little bit about the movie before watching the movie, and all of the critics hated this fucking movie when it came out. It has like a 30 on Metacritic, audience score of like 70 something. But all the critics were like, yeah, it doesn't actually have a plot. It just makes you ask a whole bunch of questions, and then a character comes out and explains them all. And as I was watching, I was like, yeah, but these are interesting questions. And then Alessa walks out and is like, here's the plot.
I can see how it's a bit weird, because like if this movie was just weird and it didn't explain anything, it would be it'd be like a lot of European horror films, or like some of David Lynch's work. Not all. A lot of David Lynch stuff is actually relatively self-explanatory, but some, right? Or like there's a lot of movies that, or like fucking Tarkovsky, where it's just like, wow, we're just gonna show a bunch of weird shit, and you can just sort of make your own emotional, or logical, or intellectual sense of it. Or if it was a modern movie, or if it was a more mainstream movie, everything just makes sense. But yeah, the combination of the two, I can see people not getting that, right? But like, I enjoyed the part I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
And then they explained it, and I'm like, well, okay, but I still enjoyed not knowing it for a while.
And also, I feel like what was going on was not actually that complicated. Like when it was explained, I was like, yeah, that's pretty much what I thought. So I feel like they could have either just not explained it and people probably would have picked up on it anyway, or they could have just explained it throughout the story better. Maybe make the scenes with fucking Sean Bean
and
better.
regardless, the literal meaning of what was quote unquote happening isn't as important as the images and the thoughts and the feelings that are called up by them. So that's the explanation. It's like, whatever, man. What happens is that when this happened, it made me feel this way and make me think these things. That's what matters. Who cares what the quote unquote plot is?
Yeah. So, Dark Alessa tells Rose that she was the one that left all of the clues for her to see if she was a worthy mother to Sharon, and then espouses the plot of the movie. So Rose discovers that Silent Hill had a history of ritual witch burnings, and Alessa was condemned as a witch because she didn't have a father. Christabella convinced and tricked Dahlia into letting the cult purify Alessa, but by purify they meant ritual sacrifice. So they burned her to a crisp, but it went disastrously wrong, and the fire that they were burning her on tipped over, and that's what burnt the town down in the real world. Sean Bean had learned that it was a mining accident, but it was not. It was a witch burning. So in her pain of being burned to a crisp, Alessa developed psychic powers or whatever and created Dark Alessa and the other world, the spooky red Silent Hill. And ever since, she's been shifting reality to the hellish nightmare world to hunt down the cult members who hurt her all these years ago. So Pyramid Head and his dudes are just there to kill the church people, but because of their churchiness, she can't actually get inside of the church. So that's where they've been hiding, and so that's why it's taken some 30 years to hunt down these last bit of people. She says that Sharon is the manifestation of Alessa's remaining innocence and goodness, and Dark Alessa took her to the orphanage to let her have a better life outside of Silent Hill. Dark Alessa warns Rose that Christabella knows where Sharon is hiding, and she's already making plans to burn Sharon to try and purify the town and get them out of the hellhole. Meanwhile, Christabella shows up at Dahlia's apartment where Sharon was hiding and kidnaps her. Rose realizes what she needs to do, and she agrees to help Alessa gain her final revenge so that she can save Sharon. Dark Alessa is like, I can't get into the church, but if you take me with you, you can get inside the church and we can fuck them up together. And so Rose absorbs Dark Alessa into her, and so then cut to the church, and Sybil is being sacrificed first just because the people are evil, and they burn her to a crisp. And it's sad because I liked her. I didn't for half the movie, and then after she saved Rose, I liked her a lot, and I wish she didn't have to go. So she gets burned at the stake, and then they're about to burn Sharon. You would think they would burn the important one that they had all gathered there to do. You'd think they would get that one out of the way first so that the protagonist couldn't show up to stop them, but whatever.
And also, when the protagonist shows up to stop them, she just sort of hollers for a while, and they could have just done it.
Yeah, they could have been like, cool, whatever, made the congregation lock arms and keep her from coming, and then just burn the witch, but whatever. So Rose busts in, and she confronts the townspeople and Christabella, saying that they're all actually dead, and this is purgatory because they all died when they were burned down, and sucks to be them, and they can't save themselves because they're already dead, and they're like, well, that's stupid, and you're stupid. And Christabella stabs Rose, and Rose falls to the ground, and I think that I at the time I was like, oh fuck, she's gonna die. Like that's a very like the few Japanese horror films that I've seen, like they're not afraid to like, oh, the protagonist we've been following has died, but now we're in the realm of the monsters, so we're going to resolve the thing without them. We don't need them anymore. And I thought that that's what was going to happen, but no. Instead, when she gets stabbed, the blood that comes out is actually black Dark Alyssa goop, which opens up a portal to the other world. And so Dark Alyssa and Alessa's adult body in the hospital bed rise up out of the portal to the underworld, and they kill Christabel and the town's people, and they do it a lot with barbed wire, and it's gross. It leaves Dahlia, Rose, and Sharon as the only survivors. And Sharon and Dark Alyssa lock eyes, and Sharon faints. Now that Alessa's revenge is completed, Dahlia is left alive on the church steps, and she asks Rose why didn't Alessa kill her too? Which Rose reminds her that she's still Alessa's mother, and quote, "Mother is God in the eyes of a child." Someone had said it earlier. It was a callback. Dahlia seems to realize that Sharon is now Alessa, and she watches in silence as her child leaves the church with her other mother. Rose and Sharon / Alessa leave Silent Hill and return home, except it's still foggy when they get there. Flashback to Sean Bean. He also arrives home, and it's not foggy when he gets there, to further hammer home the fact that they're in a different dimension. They are not in the regular world. Rose and Sharon enter the house together, and then Alessa walks off, and the camera shows her expression turn dark, indicating that their two halves have finally rejoined after 30 years, and that Sharon is now the completed Alessa. And then the credits play.
So one quick thing, the final shot, it's like right outside the house, and then it sort of pans past some plants, and then it just holds on the plants for a bit. Was there a significance to the plants?
Yeah, Bernard, that was Lily of the Field.
What? Is that
Lily
a Breaking Bad reference?
Yeah, I was just being stupid. This is a Breaking Bad reference.
Okay.
Lily of the Valley actually is the name of the plant, so never mind. No, I don't know either.
It was just the way it held on the plants. It felt like it was a significant final shot, but I was like, "What?"
It's called art. Look it up sometime.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm not certain.
Also, I'm realizing, we kind of blew our wad on this game. Like, I know that it was a Halloween thing, but I'm realizing this obviously would have been a great tie-in for the end of our series on Kingdom Hearts, because Alyssa was split into a nobody and a heartless, basically.
Yeah, but I don't think I would have known that about this movie without having already seen it.
I know, I'm joking. Also, we're not playing Kingdom Hearts. It's not even on our list.
If y'all want to play Kingdom Hearts, you're going to have to find a different third host.
Yeah. Or personally pay Bernard, not the podcast, the amount to unlock that long cast.
That's right.
Yeah. Pay Bernard $1,000, and then we'll do it.
Maybe.
But yeah. Anyone got any memorable moments?
So overall, I thought this film wasn't great. I gave it 2.5 stars on Letterboxd. And I feel like it had some serious problems. I pretty much liked it up until the plot dump scene, and I feel like from then on the script was not great.
Yeah.
It could have been less script in general.
Yes, but it makes me feel confident that I think this Christophe Gans person could make a very good second Silent Hill film, which it was announced that he's doing. And he said, like, horror cinema has evolved a lot recently, and I'm really excited to do something new. And I'm like, just art is better now. People make better art now. I'm interested to see what he does, because I think there was a lot good here.
Yeah, it's not his fault. It was 2006.
Mm-hmm.
We were just like that. No, yeah. That makes a lot of sense. I agree. I thought this movie made me feel kind of unsettled and off throughout its entire runtime, which is in a particular way, which I think is pretty cool. It had a very, like you said, it doesn't feel like a horror movie. It just feels like a weird drama. Just occasionally some fucked up shit happens because it's the world that they live in. You know, it felt like a weird, like, almost like a weird kind of like magical realist thing. I know it's silly to call it magical realist because it's so overtly fantastical, but whatever.
Yeah.
I'm talking about vibes here, okay?
Yeah.
I like the fact that they follow a lot of the. I'm guessing because A, I figured using my brain. B, you made a joke or two like this in your script. I feel like so many times they go to locations just because that's where you go to in the game, and it always does just feel like, and now we're going to this level, I guess. Like, the locations where things happen in are often very irrelevant to what happens in the locations, which is very funny to me. It's like, yeah, you go through an area and then you get a key, and I guess we'll go here now. I heard her say school, so we'll go to the school now. And a lot of it could have just been shuffled up. A lot of it could have been, I feel like if this wasn't based on a video game, it would have been, the locations would have all been different. The plotting, the like structure of the plot would have been different. It probably would have had fewer locations, frankly. That part was very, very funny to me. Like, it's like you have a plot. You have a bit of plot information that happens in place A, and then later you go to place B and get another plot information. It's like, well, there's no reason they had to go somewhere else to learn that.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't even say it's bad. It just gives it a particular texture that makes you go, okay, I guess we're doing this now. That I thought was very cute. Now, combined with its weirdly sloppy pacing and structure and plotting, yes, I would say that's bad, but this in itself is not really particularly bad. Yeah. I just think it's cute.
Yeah, there were several times where I was like, this guy really, really likes Silent Hill, and so yes, we have to do all of the levels, and we have to get the keys and all of these things because the person really likes Silent Hill, but in a good way that happens at the beginning when Rose is mostly by herself and she's just exploring the town. There is so much of Rose is walking with tank controls because the camera is just going fucking wild to just be walking down a fucking street. And Silent Hill is famous. Like, when you get to the bathroom, I'm like, oh my God, I've been in this bathroom because it breaks the 180 rule so hard that it's impossible to play with an analog stick. You have to play it with tank controls on, because this bathroom, they just wanted you to have a bunch of different camera angles, and that's just what happens. And they do that several times throughout the movie, and it made it feel like a PlayStation 1 horror game, and I liked that a lot. The filmmaker in me probably would have notes, but the goofy hat of myself was like, hell yeah, this is just like the video game I recently played.
Yeah,
just like in my Japanese video games.
exactly. I really want to replay Silent Hill 1. The only Silent Hill games I've played are Silent Hill 1 and Silent Hill Shattered Memories, which I played them both so long ago, but I remember them both being great.
Yeah, I'm not even all the way done with the first level / dungeon / set piece, whatever you want to call it, in Silent Hill 2, and I already downloaded the rest of the series to my Steam Deck because it was really good and didn't have a lot of bullshit in it. It just was a spooky adventure game, and I liked it so much. Any other memorable moments?
No, that's it for me.
So most of the cast was like not well-known people, and then Sean Bean was there. But I feel like most of the main characters, they're very good performances.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll second that. Very, very strong acting throughout. Although shame because Sean Bean is a phenomenal actor, and it's almost a shame that he was literally shoehorned into the movie doing shit that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah. According to the Silent Hill wiki, literally it was supposed to only have female characters, but yeah.
Yeah.
And I find it funny how it looks like the filmmakers were all about, we're doing these themes of motherhood and everything, blah, blah, blah. But like, they're all dudes.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
I noticed that as well. Yeah, I think the only, besides Sean Bean and the cop man, I think the only time the acting was like weird was the monologue, and it could have just been poorly written monologue at the church there at the end, more than it being her fault. Because the rest of the movie, I thought that Rhoda Mitchell, who plays Rose, I thought that she was fan-fucking-tastic.
Yeah, I agree. That monologue scene wasn't great, but I think it was just not very well written.
Mm-hmm.
And there are parts where I feel like it's the actors overall were doing great, but there were parts where they just couldn't quite overcome the weird script.
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
But yeah, I think that'll do it for the week. If you liked what you heard today and you want to help us offset the costs of running the show, head on over to www.rpgbook.club, where any and all donations are put back to the show to make it better, offset hosting costs, buy games, those sorts of things. If you donate $1 or more a month, you'll get access to our Book Club no Kiseki episodes a month before everyone else, as well as be able to vote on our polls that decide what game we play next. Except this time of year, you don't get to pick because we get to sell out. And this year, we are selling out hard and playing the JRPG Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
Let's fucking go.
We are ending our Square moratorium in the most sellout way possible by playing the most Square JRPG. I still don't know if we have that guest. They told me I'm planning on it, and I will let you know if I'm not doing it. But we have not recorded the first episode with them yet, so I don't want to jinx it by saying who they are. But I'm working on getting us a fantastic guest for that season. So
yeah, I need to say something that I've said off pod but not on pod. My availability is going to be going down drastically after we finish this episode. I don't want to leave the podcast, and I definitely won't leave the podcast before playing Final Fantasy fucking 7, all right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to be around, but we're going to be trying to figure out a schedule. And I don't know. I have no guarantees about anything, but I will try my very, very, very best to be able to do this with you all. So then doing that heads up to say that, if I end up missing an episode or 2 or 3, that's why. In addition, though, and you all already knew that, but in addition, I'm like the last person on this podcast to ever not really play a game for real and to just like watch a fucking Let's Play or something, because I hate myself and I will never not play a game no matter how much it sucks.
Mm-hmm.
or whatever, right? I always just like force myself through it. That's not an exact. That's a joke. I enjoy playing games, and I don't know. To me, I'm not getting the full experience at all unless I'm really playing it. It's not even that enjoyable for me to not really play the game and then talk about it because there's this like just thought that you get from all the subtleties that come from the actual game interaction parts. Which I know everyone feels that way, but for me, it's like so strong that I have to do it even if I have like no time in my life. I think I'm deciding right around now that I'm not going to be able to play this one.
Yeah.
Which is a shame. But by not playing the game itself, I'll have enough time in my life to at least continue talking about the game.
Yeah.
Luckily, I know this game very well, right? So, we'll see. I love Final Fantasy VII. Okay, it would really makes me annoyed that it's coming at this time in my life. But, yeah. So I just thought I would announce that because, it might be it's not a first. Is there another game that I've not played?
You technically didn't play the Halloween special 3 years ago because we couldn't get it to work on Mac. So you watched me play it live, and we did that together. I think that's the only time you could.
I feel like there's one other game that I'm forgetting. There have been weeks when I don't play, and then I catch up the next week. Sometimes I don't tell you that I did that. There's been a game that I think I like didn't beat the last episode or something, but yeah. So first for the podcast, I've been defeated.
and I mean, famously, instead of waiting 3 weeks to join us at Rogue Galaxy, you caught up through the gigantic ass game that is Persona 3 in like a week so that you could join us before that series was over.
I played the absolute motherfuck out of that game to catch up with you guys. Yeah. So just thought I would announce that there's a maybe a first for the pod, which is me being the one who doesn't get to actually play the game for real because this time it's me who's going through it. So but yeah, we're gonna try our very best to schedule it so that I can join you all because A, Final Fantasy VII rules, and B, I need to be there live when Sam tells me that I was right all.
We'll see.
We'll see. You might not say that, and maybe it turns out you're right all along. I wouldn't bet on it, but
if you decide to bump up your monthly contribution to $5 a month, you'll also get your name shouted out at the end of every episode. Just like this. Hi, future Bernard. I forgot to pull it up again, as if I don't do this 3 times a week and know that this is the thing that I do at this point. And Maddie even gave me time to vamp to go and do it, and I sat here and did absolutely nothing. So, hi, future Bernard.
If I cut it out, you won't learn your lesson.
Shout outs to Bernie L. Taylor, AA Ron 524, Anthony Lerma, Vimk, Jfro Prime, Eliza Tantivi, and Doho. And then if you also bump up your monthly donation to $20 a month, we will not only read your name, but give you a 1-sentence shout out to whatever you want. The idea is for this to be like a URL for your Twitch stream or whatever. But our current Luminary Car does not have a Twitch stream, but he is a dentist. So his shout out is for your own mouth. He asks that you brush your teeth twice a day. Most importantly, the time right before you go to bed. For RPG Book Club Movie Nights, I have been Sam Allman.
I'm David Bernard Houck.
And I'm Maddie Grace Webben.
Toodaloo, folks.
Goodbye.